Now, if we imagine a nation or a community ravaged by war, one of the first images that comes to mind is broken down walls. And through the biblical history, we often see that images in the material realm reveal truths in the spiritual realm. And there is this idea that the broken down walls in the material realm represent the broken down walls of the human condition under the tyrannical governance of sin. And we see this physical and spiritual coming together in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. They incredibly are coming to the end of exile. Under Cyrus's decree, moved by God's heart, Zerubbabel has led a first wave of exiles to return and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, urged on and encouraged by Haggai and Zechariah. After a 16-year standstill, they finally complete the rebuilding of Solomon's temple, Zerubbabel's temple. Then, some 80 years later, Ezra, this extraordinary man, a scribe, a priest, devout, learner and teacher of the law of the Torah, has a heart to bring back more exiles back to Jerusalem and to restore the heart of the temple, worship back in that temple. 14 years after him, Nehemiah, cupbearer to the king, who would hold a real place of prominence at the king's hand, drinking every drink that the king was offered in advance to check it hadn't been poisoned. One day Nehemiah heard that the walls of Jerusalem were still broken down. He was supposed to smile and always bring joy to the king's presence, but he was so heartbroken by the ravaged condition of his home city that he actually looked sad in the king's presence. The king asked why. He prays an extremely quick prayer immediately, asking for favour to go back and rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. The king grants him that request, and he brings a third wave of exiles to return. Under Ezra and Nehemiah, the most extraordinary material restoration happens. Worship is restored in the temple and the walls are rebuilt. Again, after some opposition, Nehemiah establishes each family rebuilding the walls attached to their house. And to great rejoicing and celebration, both Ezra and Nehemiah succeed. Ezra succeeds in re-establishing worship in the temple, and Nehemiah succeeds in rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem despite opposition. However, they also extraordinarily call the people to a spiritual renewal, and we see accounts of this in both books. The people are called once again to come under Yahweh's governance through fulfilling the requirements of the law given at Sinai, and wholeheartedly they all say yes. Famously, they are weeping and broken in their sense of loss. Wonderfully, Nehemiah delivers these famous words from God: "Do not weep, for the joy of the Lord is your strength," and inaugurates festival and celebration. So we see in Ezra and Nehemiah both the material restoration of the temple, of worship in the temple, and of the rebuilding of the walls. And also we see a spiritual restoration of the heart condition of the people, moved once again to worship Yahweh. However, tragically, we see right at the end of Nehemiah, still, when he returns again, he finds that people are still violating the covenant. And there is a sense of urgency and desire and hunger embedded within the text for someone to come who will bring that full and complete restoration once and for all, to bring a restoration to the human heart, to simply love Yahweh, love God and his ways again. And we see that Jesus comes. He is the complete and perfect priest, scribe, lover of the word. He is restoration itself, able to restore the human condition, and not only able to do that, but able to make restorers out of broken people, thus fulfilling the prophecy in Isaiah that our people will be restorers of broken walls, restorers of streets with dwellings. Jesus comes in material form and restores the spiritual nature of the human condition.